Welcome to the Milestones, Motivation, and Money podcast, a weekly conversation filled with stories of business, financial literacy, careers, leadership, and resilience. Setting and achieving goals is key, whether they are related to your finances, business, or career. I hope to empower you with these conversations, no matter where you are in life. I'm your host, Angel Radcliffe, and on this show, get ready to change your mindset and start your journey to achieve your lifelong goals. So if you need a little motivation to start your day or jumpstart your next project, tune in and be sure to join our community online at milestonesmotivationandmoney.com. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. On today's show, we're chatting all about FinTech and the evolution. So getting a little bit into the nitty-gritty of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs. What does that all mean? How is it impacting you? How is it impacting the world? But, these are topics that are discussed on a daily basis, especially when we turn on the news and we're hearing about Bitcoin or we're hearing about NFTs. And most people don't really understand what that means. So thankfully on today's show, we do have an expert who will be joining us to dig a little deeper and give you all the information that you've been wanting to know about those particular topics. So I myself am very interested in NFTs, and I started to do a little bit of research a few months ago. You hear people making millions of dollars and becoming overnight successes from this. I said, what is an NFT? I started to do the research myself. I'm halfway there. So hopefully the guest today can shed a little bit more light. So today we'll be speaking with Fred Brandon. He's a technologist with over 20 years of experience in IT, and he has developed solutions and spoken on a global basis to various organizations in the public and private sector. He teaches blockchain courses at Alt University, which is a global program that focuses on blockchain technology, and he's a best-selling author. So he has a book, Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing a Digital Future. I have known Fred for 7 years now, and I have seen some of the things that he's been doing. So it's been so amazing just to see his growth and really coming into his own as a thought leader in this blockchain and crypto space. So these are hot topics over the last few years, and definitely want to stay in tune with the way the world is changing in tech. So glad to have this conversation. Share this episode, get a pen and paper, and let's hear more about blockchain, crypto, and NFTs. Let's welcome Fred to the show.
Thank you, Angel. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you on and chat about this topic related to FinTech and various topics and under that umbrella, because these are topics that we haven't discussed on the show, and it's Financial Literacy Month. So I'm sure so many people are tuning in here and there, workshops, podcasts, various news organizations, and hearing all of this amazing information related to finance and new technology. So we're going to talk about crypto, blockchain, NFTs. It's a lot. I'm sure we'll need more than 30 minutes to cover, but that's what people can come to you for. So how about you go ahead and give everyone a brief background of yourself, what you do, and we'll get the show started.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. I don't know where to start. So I'll just, the normal answer. I've been in technology for over 20, done a little bit of everything from front-end development, worked in the Microsoft space for a very long time. So understanding servers, and it kind of led me into where I am now, working with a lot of different cybersecurity. This has really been the basis for what I've, kind of walked into now. And that's in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Once I, understood, I think like everyone else, when you start looking into Bitcoin and crypto, you're probably just in it for the money, trying to find a better way to invest, which, I did the exact same thing. But then, after I really looked at it and I understood that it was on blockchain technology, everything just clicked. I was like, oh, I know all this stuff. So it kind of led me to where I am now, where I am helping others learn more about this space, Web3 technology, which is very encompassing of a lot of things that we're going to talk about, whether it's blockchain, crypto, NFTs, things of that sort.
And you are an advocate of financial literacy. How did that piece come about, while you were working in tech?
Yeah. And so I think, all of it is the intersectionality of tech and money is always been there. I just think a lot of people don't really think about it. Right. So, we can always think of, credit cards and a lot of different fintech, PayPal, Cash App. There are a lot of different things that we're using technology for our financial service. So being able to, couple both of those things together, whether you're building something for a client that kind of crosses over into, business intelligence or financial services, things of that sort, kind of, you start seeing how the pieces fit together. And that kind of, as I said, meshes over well with, learning this field now of cryptocurrency, because it's both technology and it's, financial services as well, or can be, I should say that.
Yeah, I always thought that was so interesting. So, when I met you, oh gosh, on social media years ago, I want to say I was in the transition in my career of moving from finance to tech. And
Right.
I had always sort of been an advocate of financial literacy and involved in that space. But moving to tech and seeing how both of our backgrounds sort of intertwine with the financial literacy piece, the technology piece, I think it's very interesting to meet people who have the like minds and understanding like how these pieces come together. When you think about your purpose, what would you say your purpose is here on this planet and teaching about these topics?
Yeah, I think you just said it. It's all about education. I've been in this space for a very long time. I was always a big math and science geek, so always been around, computers, math, and, understanding how things, even as a kid, I used to tutor, people in math and everything. So it kind of just stuck with who I am. So being able to understand some of these concepts and be able to relate them to others is really like one of my fortes. I've recently wrote a book that kind of makes it very easy to understand this space, and I like to, be able to chunk up, the big terms, the big technologies, and things of that sort, and try to make it a little bit more digestible for, the everyday reader.
Now, thinking about general financial literacy, thousands of people in the country, millions of people in the country, are without that particular knowledge. And it's not necessarily something that's taught in school systems. So thinking about your background, were you self-taught? Was it something that was passed down? How did you fuel this fire?
Yeah, yes and no. So, just a little more background about who I am. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So, a lot of us, kind of like grew up in the family business, and our family owned like grocery stores and things of that sort. So, understanding money, understanding business, understanding a lot of these things, I probably, you know, learned through the family and not necessarily through school, right? So, understanding that this is something that is not, as you said, easily taught in school or primarily taught in school. This is something that's really missing in the education space. So that's those are one of the things that I really want to kind of, get across to, our communities and things of that sort, that understand is, there are a lot of different opportunities out there. And, whether it's learning about tech, learning about finance, either of those that, is not really being pushed in the educational system, but is really going to be key to, how we do things in the future.
Oh, definitely. And with the evolution of technology, of course, finances and financial literacy have evolved. And the big word or the key word that we're always hearing is fintech.
Right.
When someone hears that word fintech, what should they be thinking of?
So a lot of people get scared off by that term because they don't know what to think. But we have to start thinking about how technology kind of infuses with the financial services that we currently use. So if we are thinking about, if I say fintech to some person, they're like, that's kind of, Greek to me. I just don't understand it. But they can tell you, they've been using PayPal for the last 5, 10 years, whatever, right? So being able to understand some of the things that we use in different terms is really all about the education, and being able to kind of get them to understand some of the technology and some of the use cases for some of these terms is probably going to be a lot easier than some of the jargon that we use in the tech space.
And you're right. It can be a bit scary. You hear the word fintech. I remember, I tell this story all the time, and I remember working in corporate finance, and technology was evolving. And I've always been someone who was intrigued and really wanted to understand what was going on. I like to understand processes. And I was like, I wouldn't mind trying to get into tech, but I had no idea how to make that transition. This is before fintech was probably a word. And I would tell everyone, I want this role that blends finance and tech. And people would say, well, there's no such thing.
Right.
And now 2022, like there's fintech and there's all these things that are blending the two, and when you said people get scared when they hear their word fintech, there's some other words people get scared of where we think about blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, like
Right.
so many people just don't know what those are. And when you think about the mindset of the average consumer, most people shy away from things that they don't know, that they're not familiar with, which tends to hold people back from moving forward and being successful and creating generational wealth. And you think about basic concepts of financial literacy, some people are failing in that area because they were never exposed to the information. So when you're never exposed to the information, you should fall behind. And I see that happening again as fintech is evolving, where people are not taking advantage of one, the educational portion, because you have to be educated and understanding what all is involved in fintech, what is blockchain, what is crypto, instead of just saying, oh, I don't know what that is, or this sounds pretty scary or pretty risky, so I'm not even going to attempt to learn.
Right.
With that being said, do you think the evolution of fintech will increase the wealth gap that we currently have?
Yes, unfortunately. And it's just because of what you said. There's a lot of fear involved of the unknown. And I think this is an opportunity. I like to say I coined this term because we hear so much of the inverse. Cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin in particular, allows for that trickle up method, right? We've heard so much of trickle down, and everyone knows trickle down just doesn't work. But this is a opportunity for the everyday person to be able to. You don't necessarily have to be a accredited investor to be able to buy your first bit of Bitcoin, right? You don't necessarily have to be a billionaire or whatever to be able to, or know the right people or be in the right circles to be able to invest in Bitcoin. So this gives the opportunity for every person, even the ones that buying Bitcoin, $5 at a time or whatever, it does not matter. But it gives you that opportunity to start small and increase over time. But the problem is you have a lot of people who are not educated in the space and tend to stay away from it because they just don't know what it is. They don't know the opportunities that are available with it, or just the idea of being able to invest properly, right? A lot of people think that piggy bank that we've had in our closet or whatever for all these years is investing, and it's not, right? Because that money is just going to be the exact same when you take it out, but because of inflation, you're not going to be able to buy the exact same thing with it. So being able to understand these principles, as it relates to crypto, all of these new areas of decentralized finance and things of that sort, are it gives the opportunity for people to excel and to kind of close that wealth gap a little bit, but it all boils down to.
Right. And, as you were speaking about crypto and you said, it's nothing for someone to go out and buy some Bitcoin and become that investor. Let's really get into crypto because, I mean, gosh, this is going to be such a long episode. When you think about crypto itself, there's so many different aspects. Of course, I think Bitcoin is the most popular form of cryptocurrency, but give us some definition, like what is cryptocurrency? And, for someone who doesn't know, what should they start researching and how can they use crypto? What are the benefits? Is it the same as the stock market? I know that's a lot.
Right. All right. So we have to kind of chunk that down a little bit. So understanding cryptocurrency is just going to be a digital asset that's going to typically be on a blockchain but it's going to be secured through means of cryptography, right? So that's I'm trying to put it in a nutshell. And then you have a lot of different cryptocurrencies out there. To date, there's probably about 18,000 cryptocurrencies out there, but we have to understand that not all cryptocurrencies are currency, right? So it's not necessarily that you can use this particular cryptocurrency to buy anything, right? I like to give the example of having a gift card, right? So if you had a gift card to maybe one of your favorite coffee places, you could buy anything you wanted at that coffee establishment, but you might not be able to go buy a pair of pants or a pair of shoes with it, right? So they have a utility, in the same terms, they have a utility token that you can purchase within there, right? So there are a lot of different utility tokens or cryptocurrencies that's out there that's going to be specific to a particular ecosystem. So when we start getting into, what does this coin do, or what does this token do, and then we have to start understanding what was the purpose behind it, what project is it fueling, right? So you have certain cryptocurrencies that's going to be out there that's going to be, widely popular, Bitcoin being one of them. But then you're going to have some of the other ones that may have a different use case, where it may be a security token or it may be a utility token or something like that, that may only, be able to buy you that purchase you that cup of coffee.
So, for someone who wants to go out and buy Bitcoin, and I want to give people some other options. Gosh, I'm like, there's so many. I don't own a full Bitcoin, but I own pieces of it. Bitcoin's gotten a bit pricey over the years. I remember years ago and it was really cheap and people were buying Bitcoin. But there's
Right.
like Ethereum, there's Dogecoin, which was like went viral last year.
Right.
What are some other types of crypto that people should start looking into? I mean, there's so many different forms. So how do you choose the right form of?
Okay, so there's over 18,000 of them. So it really depends on what you're trying to do, right? Some of the ones that are very popular are is going to be like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Some of those that are actually being utilized in NFT. So if you are, big into the NFT side, there may be certain cryptocurrencies that uh, are used for the purchase or for minting on the blockchain or any of those type of things, that those would be something that you may want to look into. But some of the other ones, you really have to kind of do your research on all of those type of things, because some of those are going to be like meme coins, and we have to understand that some of these meme coins are, it's kind of like those fly by night type of things. You just really don't know exactly what it is. Does it really have a purpose? Is there, do you understand that what the real use case for it is? Is it just going to be something that they call a pump and dump, where somebody made 1 billion of them and sold and sold half of it just to try to get money. So we have to understand exactly what those type of projects are, and there's a lot of different ways to kind of read up on that. One of them I would suggest is going to a place like coinmarketcap.com or coingecko.com or Messari.io, and that's Messai, Messari.io, which will allow you to look up these individual coins, get their white papers, things of that sort, to kind of read up on the project, what's it really designed to do, and you can make your educated choice from there. One of the things that I like to, when I talk to people about reading these white papers, is kind of read the Bitcoin white paper first. It's only 9 pages long, but it gives you everything that you need to know, right? Understanding the project, understanding what it was created for, all of that. And once you understand that this one, it is the granddaddy of all coins, it's been around for the longest, that you understand exactly what you're looking for. So when you see that use case in that white paper for Bitcoin, when you start to look at other coins, you can kind of say, oh, well, this doesn't really make sense, or this, it gives you a little bit more of an edge to understand exactly what you're reading, especially if there's going to be a lot of jargon in there that, the typical person may not know.
And I always see people posting about or talking about crypto wallets. Why is a crypto wallet so important?
We have to think about it just like like we use our normal wallet, right? It's a place where we're going to hold our money, right? So we like to say that there's about three different types of wallet. There's really only two, so hot wallet and cold wallet. But then you have to understand that being in the crypto space is all about self. So you want to make sure that the type of wallet that you have, that you're going to be able to self-custody your crypto. Think of this situation where you are keeping your money on an exchange. And the exchange is going to be, some of these popular places like Coinbase or Binance.us or Kraken or Gemini, any of those type of places. Those are going to be your exchanges, right? But so you can kind of liken that to a bank. So just like with our real, the bank is holding our money for us, right? But at the same time, it's technically we just can't go in the bank anytime we want, right? We have 9 to 3 hours, right? We have those banker hours where those are the only days we can really go in there and physically take our money out if we wanted to. That's custodial. So they're going to pretty much be taking care of all of your money for you. And then, if they want to shut it off or do anything else, they have that power because they have those cryptographic keys, the public and private key, right? So what I like to tell people is making sure that you have a cold wallet, something that you control those public and private keys to, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's all about, or like I said, it's all about self-custody. You want to make sure that we control our money and that we can have, we can say, whether it comes or goes or does whatever. So yeah, those are the type of wallets. And, there are different types of hot. Sometimes, we term it as a warm wallet, where it's something that you can have on your phone, but it's still a hot wallet, but you have the cryptographic keys to it. So you have the public and private keys, which is usually a 12 to 24 word password.
Okay, well, that's really good explanation, because I know someone's probably like, what the heck is this? Even for myself, and I consider myself a tech savvy person, financially savvy person. But when I was learning about crypto and blockchain, I was like, what the heck? So when you think about the average person who's not into finance, they're not into tech, they're probably really like rolling over like, I'm done. I want to learn.
No, yeah, I think like one of the things that we have to kind of come back to is, yeah, there are going to be a lot of terms, there's going to be a lot of jargon, there's going to be a lot of different things that is going to be a little foreign to us initially. But I like to, if I asked you, you're different. If I asked a normal person, could you explain to me about SMTP servers? They would probably look at me like I'm crazy, right? But that's just email, right? It's just email. Everybody has an email address and everybody uses email constantly. But, to try to talk to them about mail, yeah, they're not going to think about a mail server or anything like that. So sometimes we just have to, kind of limit some of the jargon that we use, and so we can get away from it. So if we're thinking about, blockchain technology, and we're thinking about how things are going to be on a distributed, and we're able to move money from one ledger to another ledger, or any type of transaction from one ledger to another ledger. We've been doing that for years. It's called a credit card, right? So or a check. We're able to move money electronically from one account to another account. So when we start thinking about this, I'm like, oh, we've been doing this forever in certain ways, but now we have this cryptography aspect to it, where it's, and whether it's going to be on a public blockchain, now it's a little bit more transparent, and we have a lot more things that's going to make sure we have these securities in place, instead of having it in, centralized hands where anything and everything could be done to it. So,
earlier you mentioned that crypto is a part of blockchain, and I know, even for me, when I learned that, I was like, what? I was like, how in the heck does this work? So explain how that is a part of, those two are sort of intertwined.
So yeah, so it's, as I was mentioning, it's going to be, kind of think of it as an app, right? And or I like to break it down even further. So you can have one without the other, but you can't have one without the other, right? So you can have, like, blockchain is going to be likened to train tracks, and then your cryptocurrencies can be like that train, right? So you can have an entire blockchain, or you can have those train tracks but never have a train, right? So blockchain technology has a lot of use cases. It can do a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily have to have a cryptocurrency aspect to it. But at the same time, you do have an app like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or any of these other type of cryptocurrencies that can be a use case for being able to be that financial aspect of blockchain technology.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm sure people are sort of probably listening, probably having to pause, rewind. But I mean, there's still one major part that we haven't even touched base on.
Right.
And I feel like we're just given the Cliff Notes version of some of this. But when we think about fintech and you thinking about like everything that falls under the umbrella, like the most recent and most popular NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Now, this is something I'm still learning about, but what exactly is an NFT? What can you do with it? Is it just like the crypto or the blockchain? Or give us some meat on that.
All right. So, as you know, I like to always kind of explain what non-fungible means, because a lot of people, as soon as you say NFTs, like, I don't, I don't know what that means, right? So fungibility is just going to be something that can be exchanged, right? So if I was to, borrow $100 from you, I could give that back to you anyway. As long as it totals up to $100, it could be 250s, it could be 520s, it could be 1010s. It doesn't matter, right? As long as I get you your money back, whether unless you charge me interest, right? But anyway, you're going to be happy with that $100. I don't necessarily have to give you the exact same same $100 bill that you gave me. But then something that's going to be non-fungible is going to be something like me loaning my, and you trying to give me anything else but my car, right? You can't give me a truck, you can't give me a skateboard, scooter, or any of those type of things, because even my car key is an NFT, right? It can't be exchanged for it. It's not going to start any other cars, right? So we have to start thinking that NFT is going to be non-fungible. I'm not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to give me a different car, right? So being able to understand, we can start to say, okay, well, now we have something that's going to be unique on the block. And this is going to be a digital asset that also is stored on the blockchain as well. Now, NFTs, I know a lot of people are, we see it in the news and on social media, and we see all these different, JPEGs and things of that sort. There are so many different use cases for NFTs, but that is just one of the ones that we tend to see more of right now, because we have a lot of artists, whether it's digital artists, literary artists, musical artists, a lot of different ways that you can utilize this technology to pretty much make money. Right. So it allows the artist to have the power back in their hands. Right. So with the use case of NFTs, there's something called smart contracts that pretty much allows you to kind of code in your own business logic to say, okay, well, if you were to sell me your piece of artwork right now, and this is just regular artwork, I would give you $1,000 for it, and that's where your money would. But with the use case of NFTs, you have the ability to have this business logic written in, so that every time that piece of artwork sells, that you can get 10% of every future sale. That's so you have opportunities to kind of control your IP, intellectual property, a little bit better, and also have some type of payment in perpetuity.
Okay. Now, I don't want to go down that route because I'm like, this is going to open a whole new can. We're going to get into the metaverse and everything. We'll skip over that.
You sure? I mean, it's fun.
I mean, it's gonna be a super long conversation. I'm like, geez, I feel like this might need to be like a 3-part series or something. But yeah, we'll skip over that.
All right.
So,
All good.
so Fred, you have a lot of knowledge in tech and fintech, and you're putting that knowledge to good use. You started a foundation. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about that, the purpose, and what you're doing.
So yeah, I've over the past couple of years, I guess, I've really been doing a lot more in this space. I've been speaking to a lot of companies and things of that sort, doing things on Clubhouse, talking about the blockchain and crypto space. And one of the things that has come out of that is making sure that I start to spread the knowledge. So not only I'm using some of my knowledge to work with kids, I've also started a Fred Brandon Flames Foundation, which helps people in our communities get into tech jobs by learning some of the things that's going to replace the current workforce, right? We are seeing a lot of different jobs out there that is either going to be engineer based, AI based, cloud engineer. These type of jobs are really going to start replacing our typical workforce. So I wanted to make sure that I provided some resources for people who are either looking to make that career change or just be able to skill up in some type of workforce development so that they can not necessarily become one of those statistics that's going to be affected by a lot of the job turnover.
Well, that's absolutely awesome. And, I mentioned earlier we have a lot of similarities, and that's definitely something that's been on my list for a while. And I think the educational portion of financial literacy fintech, it is so important, especially in urban communities, to push this out, because as I mentioned, this could possibly be one of those things that increases the wealth gap, because so many people are going to be fearful of learning these new things. So it's amazing to hear some of the things that you have lined up. And with the foundation, you also have a book. So I would love for you to get into the book, which is Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing a Digital Future. So the first question is, what inspired you to write?
I think it was all about not being able to read. Okay, so I've been in the tech space for a very long time. I have so many books on my library. I've read everything from databases to you name it, right? But the problem is you have a lot of those books that's up there that even after you read it, you probably still don't understand it. And I know that there are a lot of books out there on this topic that even after you read it, you still won't understand blockchain. You still won't understand cryptocurrency. You still won't understand why it's necessary for us to start looking to get into these technologies. So I wanted to make sure that I wrote a book that was very easily digested by pretty much everyone. I like to say, I don't care if you're 6 or 66, that you're able to understand exactly what's going on. We have the opportunity to, get ahead of the game a little. Whether we are, the person who is just looking to try to hedge against inflation and try to secure generational wealth, or if it's going to be that business owner that's saying, okay, why do I need a blockchain, or do I need a blockchain at all? Our cloud is working perfect right now, so we have to start, thinking about it in a lot of different ways. This technology is being utilized by a lot of different companies, whether it is, Starbucks or, insurance companies or healthcare or any different, supply chain. There's so many different use cases for blockchain technology. So we need to understand why we need to understand it, and, being able to, why we need to start either working with it or, understanding how we can utilize it within our companies. So being able to have this book out there can pretty much help everyone understand a little bit more about these concepts. And the glossary is top notch. I'm telling you, go and check it out. So it's going to give you all those words that you might hear all day, every day. And like, I don't know what asynchronous anything is, right? So I have to, be able to kind of like check that out. So it is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much anywhere books are sold. I've even seen it on Walmart.com too. So you can find it out there pretty much everywhere.
Awesome. And it's definitely one I have to pick up as well. So give us some. Oh gosh, I want to skip that too, because that's going to be really long. This is going to be a long episode. It's going to be longer than all right. So, all right, awesome. So, I want to get into some show questions, and this is one that I asked everyone who's been on the show. And I know that you're really familiar, seeing as how we've been following each other online for years. But a part of my brand, there's the phrase "balling on a budget." And, when you hear that word, balling on a budget, forget everything you know about me. What does balling on a budget mean to you?
So in regards to this conversation, I think we have to think about preparing for the future, right? So whether we are being able to just say we're investing or we're doing anything in cryptocurrency, you know, a lot of us, think that we have to jump out there and try to buy a full Bitcoin at once, right? That's not something you really want to do or need to do. But there are ways that you can get into the space. We call it DCA or dollar cost averaging, or whether you can start doing things incrementally. So, whether it's something that you want to do at $5 at a time, $10 at a time, things of that sort. So I think that one of the things that we really need to start understanding is that financial literacy is important. We have to start figuring out the best way to, whether we are, reducing, what we spend and saving more, investing more, things of that sort. And so, so that we can have, generational wealth, something to pass down and, secure for our future.
Okay, love it. Love it. Now, where can people find you online if they would like to get in touch and learn more about crypto, blockchain, NFTs, and everything that you talk about?
All right. So I guess the easiest place to find me is on Twitter, Instagram. All of them are IMF Brandon. IMF Brandon is my handle. You can also reach me at fredbrandon.info is my website. You can easily find me there. The foundation, all of these links are going to be on my website as well. So you'll be able to reach them from there. But my foundation is the fbflamesfoundation.org. So fbflamesfoundation.org.
Love it. And, I'm super excited for all the things that you have going on. Usually, when I'm hopping on Instagram and I'm scrolling and I usually see something that you're a part of, I'm like, this is so awesome. So excited for everything that you are doing. Do you have any last words today?
Education, education, education. Everything that you do, whether it's you want to get into, tech, you want to get into financial literacy, you want to get into real estate, you want to get into any of the things that you really want to get into, make sure that you educate. Whether you are finding a mentor, reading a book, taking a course, any of those type of things, just make sure that you are educating yourself on the best means and the best ways to do whatever you want to. You want to start a business. There are a lot of different books out there that can kind of guide you toward that entrepreneurial route. If you are looking to, ball out on a budget, there are books out there that allows you to do that as well. And just anything that you want to do, just make sure you educate.
Love it. I agree. But Fred, thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Long overdue. I can definitely see you coming back for a part two.
Right.
So many amazing topics. And, again, this was only the Cliff Notes version. So make sure you follow Fred online, reach out to him for more information, and tune in for the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Be sure to leave us a review and let us know any ideas you have for a future show topic. And if you really want to show us some love, share this episode with a friend and be sure to join our community online, milestonesmotivationandmoney.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at milestonesmotivationandmoney. Tune in next time.